Okay, let's do the very last piece of our document for our project. First of all, I want you to remember that what we're doing at the moment is a very, very simple version of it because we're trying to learn the stages of what we have to do and where things go. I would expect when you do your project that it be quite a big document, 10 to 20 pages long possible. And what we're about to do in this last section, I would expect your work to be quite more complex than what we're about to do now. So I'm going to go right to the bottom of the document, and we've got the last section, refine. So what we've done so far is we've designed the program. So we've analysed it by thinking about how we want it to appear on the screen, and we've thought about what variables we're going to use in the program, and then we've drawn a flowchart or done some pseudocode as a design without even starting up the computer. This could be done on paper, and then importantly we've created a test plan on what we think is going to happen in our program. Now obviously, depending on the program that you're writing, your test plan is going to be either larger or more complex, but certainly you need to think very hard about all the parts of your program that you want to test, because this really is what is going to drive the refinement section. So from our design, we've written our program, and all we've done is included a screenshot of our program in our document. We haven't written the code in there, and we're not going to send the code off. The only thing you're going to be handing in is a word process document. So we've actually written the program and taken a screenshot of it. And we've also included comments. They're really necessary for you to, I would like to say obtain marks, but you're not being marked on this. However, if the exam board want to inspect your work, which they can do at any time, they would expect to see comments in your work. And then we've taken our test plan at the top, we've run our program, and we've entered in everything that we decided to test. So we wanted to test an empty string. That means just pressing enter when we run the program. And in our results, when we entered nothing at all, an empty string, it worked as we expected. So it just displayed hello. That was fine. However, when we entered a number, for example 6, we expected it to display hello space 6, and it didn't do that. And if we take a look at the tests that we completed, the screenshots of the tests that we took, there's the first one, which just displays hello, works as expected. The second one didn't work because there was no space between the O and the 6. So we can refine our solution, in other words, go back to it and repair that problem. And again, we did the third test, which said display, or we expected it to display hello space elephant if we typed in the word elephant. And again, when we ran the test, it didn't put the space in between the O and the E, and so we said that the test didn't work as expected. So we're going to fix our program to make that work, and really we've only got one thing to do. That the problem is in this line where we say print hello, then we end it with the quotes and just put the name afterwards. What we really need to do is to have a space after the O and before the quote marks. So what I'm going to do is explain in the refined section what I intend to do to fix my program. So I'm going to add a space to line 6 to read. So I'm going to write out the line of code that I want it to do, and it's print hello space plus name. So I now want it to do print hello space plus name. So I'm showing in my document what the refinement would be. So now all I have to do is hop over to REPL or start up Python. Let's do this one. Online, REPL.it, Python 2, and I'm going to rewrite my program eventually. And there we go. So I'm going to write it exactly as it was, so bear with me for a second because I've got to write all of this. So ask the user for their name. I'm going to write it exactly as it is. So comment, ask the user for their name, and then I'm going to write the code. Please print, please enter your name. Just the same as I've designed. You won't be rewriting it because you've had it saved. I haven't got it saved on REPL, so I'm having to write it out again. Get the name from the keyboard, which is a comment. Get the name from the keyboard, and then name equals raw underscore input, and then my next comment was display a welcome greeting, display a doesn't say display a welcome greeting, and then finally I have print. Now this is where I'm going to change things. Hello space plus name. So what I would do now is take a screenshot of my work and paste that into my document. So going back to the code now, just like many famous programs like Blue Peter, I've already taken the screenshot. So I'm just going to insert that picture. And it's on my desktop, and it's new code 1. Open and insert it, shrink it down a little bit, and there's my new code showing how I have refined my program by adding a space to line 6. There's my space plus name. You don't really need to highlight it or anything else like that. It might be nice to do that, but I think as the people who are marking your work will be intelligent enough to see that you've made the change. And then obviously you're going to run it. Now we were okay with the first test. You might want to run the first test again, but I'm only going to do test 2 and 3. So if I ran my program, the first thing I wanted was 6, a number, and now it prints hello space 6. So you can take a screenshot of your result and insert that afterwards. So again, I've already done this. And that's the number test. There we go. So I've put my result in to show that it's different to the first one. So there is my test, which was showing that the program was wrong, and there's my refinement showing now that it's correct. And obviously I want to run the last test with Hello Elephant to get the space in there. So I'm going to run the program on REPL again. Please enter your name, elephant, press enter, and there you go, hello space elephant. Take a screenshot of that and then put that into your document as well. And there we go. That's the first stage of refinement. So what we've done is we've refined our program based on our test table. This is why it all fits together. It's why we have to do the project in this particular order, to show that you're taking action on the work that you've set. The next refinement is, because I know Python, I actually know that instead of having all of these lines of code, I can just place, well, I'm going to do it now so you can see it. I'm going to take this string, I'm going to copy that and paste it into that raw underscore input statement. And what that means is that I don't need these lines of code, so I'm going to delete them. Now this is Python specific. This is something that only works in Python. So if you're doing PHP or another language, then this particular refinement won't work. But because you know the language, you can refine the program. In other words, take it from 6 lines of code down to 4 lines of code, and it still works exactly the same. So if I run, please enter your name. Now you might notice that there's a refinement to be done there because the cursor is right on the end of that. So if I type elephant, it's going to print hello elephant. That prints out nicely, but we probably need a little bit of refinement there. Put a space in at the end of please enter your name. Run the program again. Elephant. There we go, hello elephant. Now it's quite elegant. It's doing exactly what we want, and we can do the other tests with it as well. Please enter your name 6, hello 6, or please enter your name and don't put anything in at all, hello. Now it's up to you whether you do this refinement or not. Generally you might want to alter your program because there's lots of different ways of doing things. And in the next video, when I talk about input and print with numbers, that's going to give you lots of different options that you can choose to refine your program. It's going to be very confusing to begin with, trying to understand why we're doing it. But at the end of the day, there's many different ways of writing exactly the same program. And that's really what they're looking for. Can you have different methods of writing the same thing? So I'm just going to finish off now by saying that I am going to refine my program. I've changed the program to have a single statement for inputting the data. Any English that would explain what you're doing would be nice. And then what I'm going to do is put my new code in. I'm not going to run the tests or show the tests. I'm just going to insert my code. So take a screenshot of your code, and I've already done that. And new code 2. Insert it, and there we go. Now the whole point is that we've shown that we've refined our original document. It's a little scruffy at the moment. I might want to make these headings a little larger so that they stand out more in the document. The 4 sections. Whoa, we're going a bit mad there. I could colour them to make them stand out, but they're looking for the 4 sections and they're looking for what you put in them. Now this refinement is very straightforward. As long as you do some changes to your program, if necessary, if your program works perfectly first time, then go back and make some mistakes so that you can prove that you've refined your program. And that's it. That's something that you should just hand in to me as your project, and away we go. You've completed your project. Obviously, it's going to be a little larger. I will be there to help and sort things out, so there's no need to worry too much. You'll have hard enough time trying to design your program in the first place to worry about other things. And if it doesn't work at the end of the day, if your program doesn't work at the end of the day, that's fine. As long as you say that and you try to refine it, then you've done what's needed for the program. Not all programs work. Here's an example for you. We're in the middle of COVID-19, and the government have asked a company, the National Health, to come up with a contact tracer. And they've spent a lot of money doing that and found out that it doesn't work on Apple phones, on iPhones. It doesn't work. So they've had to scrap the whole thing and then go to Apple and Google and say, can we use your contact tracing app, please? So just think about how much time and effort was spent writing that program for it not to work at the end of the day, and then have to choose an alternate program. So it happens, and that is part of it. That is the learning process. You know, if your program doesn't work, don't take it personally, don't worry about things. As long as you've done the testing and you can say at the end of the day, my program doesn't work, I'm going to go to Apple and Google and ask for their program, that is fine. So in the next video that sort of accompanies this, we've finished now the project. So I'm not going to continue with this project anymore, but I gave you a project to work out some numbers. So you needed to tell me how many months somebody was old if they told you how many years old they were, and then numbers. And working with numbers in languages is quite difficult. So I want to talk a little bit about working with the numbers, and also kind of put the whole project thing into perspective, what we're doing. So there'll be 2 more videos following this one for you to watch, and at the end of it, all I want you to do is have a go at your months program. If you can't have a go at your months program, or don't want to, then copy down mine so that you've got a version yourself that you can hand in to show that you have performed a project. You'll need to do this several times so that it really sticks in your memory. So that's the lesson for today. Watch the other videos. No exercise other than you create or finish off your own program or copy mine.